So it was kind of less about winning. It was just kind of about, all right, let's show off in front of him. Let's get out as far as ahead as we can and stay there. Just keep making birdies, keep doing what you're doing, just full-blown attack. I mean, just however low you can take it that day, do it. Hopefully, I get the right kind of grouping on the leaderboard that it falls my way.
Hello and welcome to Making the Turn. I'm your host, Vince Drummond. Really excited to have you guys back for another episode of the podcast today. I'm joined by Harry Higgs today. Harry is a professional golfer who's based out of Dallas, graduated and played golf at SMU. He won the 2018 PGA Tour Latin America Order of Merit and is now full-time status on the Web.com Tour in 2019. So we talk a lot today about his 2018 season on PGA Tour Latin America. We talk just about the experience in general and some of the ups and downs that he went throughout the season. We also talk a lot about his 2019 season on the Web.com Tour and what he's kind of looking forward to. And we also get into some things about his college days, and he gives you guys some tips on maybe if you're someone interested in pursuing professional golf, what you should be looking for. So really excited to get into this episode. Once again, this is Making the Turn with guest Harry Higgs. Hats forward, headphones on, let's go. Welcome back to the Making the Turn podcast. I'm your host, Vince Drummond. We're joined today by Harry Higgs. Harry is a professional golfer who played on PGA Tour Latin America in 2018 and this year has full status on the Web.com. Thank you so much for joining us, Harry.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. We are too. Super excited to get into things, but why don't you just start by telling everybody a little bit about yourself, some of your background in the sport of golf, and kind of how you got to where you're at now.
Started playing when I was 6, I believe, on and off a bit, and we moved from the Philadelphia area to Kansas City, where I grew up, in 4th grade, so around the age of 10, and we moved right on the 11th hole. The clubhouse was a couple hundred yards away. I mean, I would put the clubs on my back and ride my bike down to the club after school. So that kind of really got us kick-started, and we had a bunch of junior golfers growing up, my age, younger, older, and everybody was quality players. A lot of those guys and girls went on to play college golf. So we had a good group, and it just kind of hooked. And I mean, I played a few other sports, but they all kind of died off as golf got more and more important. Made my way here to Dallas to SMU. I've been here, I guess, for 9 years. I've been out of school. This is my 5th full year as a pro, which it's amazing how it flies. But no, I enjoyed it here. I think Dallas is the best place to play pro golf. I'm obviously extremely biased, but I think it's the best place to travel from. Because in case you got to, those guys on the East Coast, sometimes they got to get over to the West Coast. We're right in between, and we can go either way. 2 airports, and I love this year being able to hopefully use Love Field and Southwest a bit more because I'm flying domestically rather than internationally. So
definitely,
no, it's been fun. I obviously love the game. And it hooked me early. We got into tournament golf early, and just kind of the idea and the want to just plainly beat people really hooked me. So that kind of spurred me into practice and get better and do what you got to do to hopefully beat people.
Awesome. Are you with a pretty good group of pros then in Dallas? Do you have a pretty good group of guys that you run with to get to practice with out there?
Yeah, so I play at Trinity Forest, where the men's and women's SMU team are, and they host the Nelson. First year was last year, and they're going to do it for a handful of years more. And they run an ambassador program, what they call it, just local pros. Mainly, there's 6 of us now, and then 3 girls. Only one is not a former SMU guy. So yeah, I mean, quite a bunch of old teammates, and then just there's so many guys in the area. I mean, gosh, there's even more than I really even know. You wind up, you get in an airport and you're all flying to the Bahamas, a month or so ago. And like, I'm just, hey, how'd you get here? Oh, I live here now. It's like a lot of guys are coming down here. So yeah, we definitely have a great group. Try to organize as many games as possible with guys. I mean, there's so many guys, and there's so many good amateur, handicap golfers at sorry, I got a phone call that really wind up being great guys to play with too. And sometimes they can get a lot of control with, how much they choose to play for. We play for less than they play for, but it's a lot of fun for sure. But definitely very competitive too.
Good. That's awesome. So let's get into PGA Tour Latin America a little bit. I know you spent a couple years on the tour. Before we get kind of specifically into last year and your 2018 season, just talk about the experience as a whole, being able to play PGA Tour Latin America, kind of what that was like with the travel and the culture and all the different things that go into it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10. I mean, there's some weeks are not great, just because you're just thrown off for whatever reason. And, it's very different than America almost every week. But being, with my first year out, being 23 years old and traveling to some of these places is really cool. And it winds up almost being like a giant fraternity. Everybody, it's usually a lot of younger guys, you just kind of making your way in pro golf out of school. It's like a traveling circus. We wind up, you're on the same flights with everybody. You're, going to dinners with 20 some odd guys, and all 20 of us are trying to piece together enough Spanish to get what we're trying to order, or trying to get from, in an Uber to the hotel, or, but no, I mean, the tour is so well run. And again, I think 2015, it was a great experience. And I didn't probably know I was as ready for it as I was at the time, and didn't have a great year, and then but finished the year well through Q school, and then bounced around a bit the next couple of years. And then last year, for sure, I think it was the best thing for me, going back and doing it again, and, kind of having a year where I've said I'm good enough to, play well at this level and make it to the two levels above. But to have to go and finally do it was for sure huge. But I think it's great. I mean, any one of them too. There's so many guys that I know that I've met over the years that are, have obviously done PGA Tour Latin America or Canada. There are a bunch of guys now going over to China. It's becoming very necessary. I mean, and I think it's only positive. I think especially in Latin America, you wind up just having to deal with, we'll call it Latin America things that, you're thrown off pretty much from the time you arrive until at least Thursday. When Thursday you tee off, everything's normal. Well, relatively normal. So it becomes easy. But that Monday to Wednesday is tough. If you can find a way to get ready and feel prepared and just able to deal with just Latin America things, you can for sure play better golf.
So 2018, beginning of the year, I heard on another interview that you did just a little bit about kind of your sticky notes at the beginning of the year after you got done with Q school. So just tell that story real quick, and then we'll kind of get into the season.
Yeah, I mean, I got status down in Latin America, and then I came back, and I was like, and I said to Corey Lundberg, who I work with here in Dallas, I was like, man, I'm good enough to win the money list. I'm good enough to be the best player throughout a year on this tour. So yeah, I mean, I came back, and it was a few days later, and I was, you read all these books, and then, you see things over and over and over, whatever. I mean, and then I just put it on there, and quite honestly, a lot of the times I just forgot that it was there. I did remember after I won everything, but yeah, I mean, I think it's less like don't let that dominate everything you do, but let that be what you work towards. The end goal is just that, like what I told myself. And there were some times during the year, as I'm sure we'll get into, that, I had good weeks here and there, and then, maybe got a little astray and kind of went back to, I didn't really picture the sticky note, but went back to what it was written on the sticky note, just, I'm good enough to win the tour. We played 17 events. Let's do it over 17 events. I'd love to have shirted up, through 10 events and won 3 of them or whatever, however much I would have done. That wasn't in the cards for me. But, yeah, I mean, it was make a goal and don't lose sight of it, and make sure that I didn't do a great job of making every shot count towards it. But in the end, it wound up probably being one, or maybe a half a shot if you could measure half a shot. So.
Yeah, for sure. Well, just talk a little bit, kind of leading up to Peru. Obviously, that was kind of the big week for you, getting the victory there. But leading up to that event, I know you had been near the top of a couple leaderboards kind of going into Sunday, and just didn't quite get it done. So talk just a little bit about your thoughts kind of heading into that week. And then as you get into the heat of things on Sunday in Peru, what were you kind of thinking during that moment as well?
I was very fortunate that Peru was the third of 3 weeks in a row. And then, so we had a week at home and 3, and then the 2 before that were both in Brazil. And I did a horrible job of just basically everything. I did not have my best physical game, but also just let everything kind of get into the way of what I normally do. Just making the ball go where it needs to go. Don't get caught up in how everything looks, everything feels. Just find a way to do it. So I came back, did a little bit of work, and then went to Mexico, so 2 weeks before Peru, and played pretty well. Still lead up to that week, I didn't really feel great, and kind of something clicked. Like the golf course was, it was if you didn't hit the fairway, you were re-teeing until you did. So I think it kind of almost helped in a way that was, I just had to start picking shots that I knew weren't going to get into trouble and I knew could get into play. And did that and kind of built confidence. Came back to Dallas from Mexico. I think I finished 19th, shot 5 under the last day, and it should have easily been 9 or 10. Obviously, golf it's easy to say that, but I threw away so many shots at the end of the day. It was terrible. But I kind of, good stepping stone, came back to Dallas, quick stop over to do laundry and then fly down to Chile overnight. Got down to Chile and kind of the same thing as Mexico. Like I got in Tuesday and Wednesday. I didn't really feel that great, but just kind of let myself, it was okay that I didn't feel great. You don't have to feel great. You don't have to be great all the time to win, right? Just get it where it needs to go. And Chile, the same thing. It was not re-tee, but if you just drove the ball in the rough, you were probably making bogey. So I started getting the ball in play and, seeing a few more shots be executed the way that I had drawn them up, which really, that's how any confidence is built in this game. When if you think and see and feel, and then you get in there and do it and the ball comes off, you're like, okay, let's go do that again. And I did. I played a really solid first couple of days. Didn't feel great the first day. Played a little better the second day. Finished well. I think I was around 20th or so, and then I shot 7 under, which could have been 8 or 9, 10 under, as it always could. But I was very happy with the third round, 7 under, and it got me tied for the lead. And then the fortunate part for me was that I was tied for the lead the week before Peru because I did everything wrong on Sunday. Like teed off on the first hole, pulled a 3-wood, laid up in the left rough, basically laid up in the left rough the whole way down the hole, made bogey on a par 5. The first 2 holes were actually par 5s, which is so weird. And then played a good hole, and then just didn't really. I played the second hole well, but didn't really let the second hole be what dominated the rest of my day. Like, man, hey, great, you did a great job. You played a good hole. Let's go, keep doing that. Put the ball where it needs to go. I think I shot 3 or 4 over and never really had a chance. So yeah, and then get down to Peru and kind of is a great week. We're staying right at the golf course. Like you can walk down the gate. The course clearly fits me well, and I chose to. Didn't really expressly decide hey, I'm gonna let the 4 rounds basically in Mexico and then the 3 rounds I played in Chile be what dominates this week for me. Don't really think about the last day. It's like, okay, things are clearly good. Let's just keep making sure I feel kind of the same way before and during each shot that I felt the last couple of weeks, and let's see where we get. And it got me the same. I shot 7 under on Saturday to get a 1-shot lead, and then it was just I took a moment right before I teed off on Sunday and wrote down kind of the opposite of what I did last Sunday. Just have a better the cliche of cliches, but have a better routine. Believe in myself, and it was just I was very fortunate. I was paired with a really good friend of mine the last 2 days in Peru, and he was playing some great golf, and I was fortunate that he was there almost in a sense that it was less about winning the tournament and just he's a good buddy. I just want to beat him. So I'm going to beat him and see where that falls. But man, I was so much just calmer and so much more patient that last day. And it just kind of turned into fun. It was just fun to execute every shot kind of how I thought it was going to be. And then when I didn't, just kind of find a way if you can to make par. If not, no big deal. And obviously had a great finish and wound up, fortunately winning. And it was a great time to win with the second, exempt to final stage cutoff being the end of that week. And the second place wouldn't have done anything for me. but honestly, I didn't even really, I kind of knew, but it didn't really matter. I wanted to kind of not have fun, because it's fun when you're winning, but I just wanted to keep kind of feeling and doing a really good job before I hit every shot, and then see how well I can execute what I told myself I was going to do. And fortunately, I did it really well for almost all of the last day and the majority of all 4 days in Peru. But it was kind of building to that. It was kind of garbage and no feeling and no nothing and bad golf, and then like a little bit of good feeling, a little bit better physical, and then like it was kind of all encompassing that week. It's really good mentally, really good physically, and really good just kind of routine, and just chill, man. Just, it's okay if you miss an 8-footer. It's all right. Let's just hit it to 8 fail the next hole and see if we can pick a better spot or make a better stroke. I was fortunate to add it up that I won the event.
For sure. That's awesome. And so that win vaulted you to 5th on the money list.
Yeah.
From that point, did you feel kind of free to just try to chase down that number 1 spot? What's your mindset after that week in Peru?
Without a doubt. I mean, the exemption, that win gets, the 1 through 10 get into final stage after that week. So yeah, I mean, I'm feeling great. And it was, and then at that point it was like, okay, obviously celebrate this. And it was not the way I thought I was ever going to celebrate. It was just kind of like, all right, well, this is great. It's great winning. It's great beating everybody, but I want to go do this again. I want to do it throughout the full year. And then, yeah, when we got the next event we played was in Argentina, and I kind of got the bad wave the first day. Like, I played in a lot of wind in the afternoon, and I think I was 1 or 2 off the lead and beat everybody in my wave. And at that point I was like, okay, things are good enough at the moment now. Like, basically, if you don't screw this up too bad, you're going to have a chance at the end to win this whole tour. And then I was like, oh, well, that's kind of what I told myself I was going to do this year, right? I mean, you kind of forget throughout the year. And I even, in Chile, 1 and 8, you walk right, when you walk off the back of 1, there are 8 tees right there. And on Saturday, I just said it, and I didn't really ever think much about it. But Nicholas Echeverria, who I beat, fortunately, by $64, was walking off the back of 1, having teed off later than I, because he was playing better. And he had such a great year. But I was walking, and we're good friends. I was walking down 8 as he was walking across. I was like, I'm coming for you. And I was kind of like, it was a joke. And then I was like, well, I kind of really like the way everything's feeling. Shot 7 under the rest of that day. It's like, I kind of kept thinking back on that. I was like, yeah, let's just go. Like, I like to beat people. Let's just go beat, these 3 or 4 guys. And I was fortunate. I had a former teammate of mine who was 2nd or 3rd at the time, after I had won. So he was a couple spots ahead of me, and Austin Smotherman. And I was just thinking, all right, well, I want to pass him. I can't let him. And then, like, the rest of the guys were friends with me too. So it wound up being, I don't want them to beat me either. So yeah, definitely. But the win frees you up. It being in the final stage, knowing that, worst case, if I can stay in this top 5, I'll at least have a couple starts on the web tour next year, because I've been a conditional member and it's miserable. So trying to eliminate conditional membership, basically, but knowing, okay, if things don't go that great through the end of this year, going and playing final stage and shooting 0 to hopefully gain status. But no, it freed me up. And that round in Argentina, because it was 2 weeks off, it really, when I kind of got screwed on the wave and playing really well and kind of playing well for the rest of that week and the week after, I kind of really felt like, all right, I felt like basically I was in control. Like, I was almost in control of what the guys ahead of me were going to do as well. I was going to set the bar high enough that they weren't going to be able to reach it, basically. So I kind of felt almost, my own weird way, that in 5th, I was actually in 1st. Like, I was truly in control. Like, it was just a way to reframe it. I clearly wasn't in 1st. I was in 5th, but kept moving up, those next 3 weeks. So.
Awesome. So let's look real quick just at that last event, kind of the thoughts and feelings going through your mind there. Because like you mentioned earlier, you wound up winning the money list by $64, which over the course of an entire year is 1 shot, maybe even less than that.
Yeah, true.
So when you're playing,
1 shot, 1 tie. I mean,
right.
that last event was total go. Like, there is no pressure on me. they pair us, in twosomes on the money list order. So I get to show off in front of Nicolas on Thursday. And I didn't feel that great the first day through the first like 8 or 9 holes, but it was just kind of hanging around, a couple putts here and there, a couple good numbers, okay, make birdie. And he didn't have his best, which kind of almost helped me. And I was like, all right, let's distance myself from him now on this back nine and push as far ahead of him as I can to kind of take care of, because I needed kind of about a 4th place or better to make up the difference between the two of us. And in that, if I finished 4th, he's got to finish down the list. So it was kind of less about winning. It was just kind of about, all right, let's show off in front of him. Let's get out as far ahead as we can and stay there. Just keep making birdies, keep doing what you're doing, just full-blown attack. I mean, just however low you can take it that day, do it. Hopefully, I get the right kind of grouping on the leaderboard that it falls my way. And I think I was in like a tied for 2nd or 3rd throughout the whole week, and then kind of made a mess of it on the front nine Sunday. Actually, just full-blown made a mess of it. I just started thinking it was kind of more so like chilly, like every shot was win or lose the money list. Like, it's not. I mean, I'm going to hit the ball. Hopefully I'm going to hit it 65 times today, but I'm going to hit the ball some 68 to 72 times, and then I still can't control what these guys ahead of me are doing. And I played the front nine horribly. I hit a terrible tee shot on 10 that wound up in the fairway, and I was scolding myself walking up. It's like, this is not how this is going to go. I'm going to just hit some golf shots, see how many birdies you can make, and let's see where this falls. Because I was in such great position and just kind of basically blown it. So yeah, birdied 10, made 4 birdies on the back nine, and fortunately with some bogeys late by the guys in front of me, it was just enough. I mean, barely enough. I didn't think it would be enough. I didn't think how I was going and how everything was, but I figured I did. I was walking up 10. I was like, if you make 4 birdies, you might have a chance. Because I knew he'd actually, as I was walking to the tee, I think I was in the second to last group, he was finishing up 18 because he just didn't have a great week. So we passed each other, and all credit to him. I don't know that I'd have been able to do it, but he said, good luck, go play well. I hope you get it done. Which was total class by him. But yeah, I didn't feel like I did enough. But fortunately, things fell my way on the leaderboard that I did just barely.
Definitely. And so for people who aren't as familiar with the way the low Cinco works and the way the setup is, just talk about how big that number 1 spot is, that $64 that separated you from the next guy, how big of a $64 that is for you looking at 2019.
For those that don't know, that $64 is worth it might not be, you might not be able to put a worth to it. Nicolas, so the example, he finished 2nd, and he did wind up getting into the first 2 web events on his number, but he didn't play his best at Q School either. He did play well in Panama, so he'll be fine for the rest of the year. But the only one that is truly guaranteed is number 1 on the international tours, and then 2 through 5 basically. You get it. You get your chance. You get to go to Q School. If you don't finish in the top 40, you basically just get thrown in a washer, and everybody just gets washed around. So if you can get a start on your number, or you can Monday qualify, you better take advantage of that. And then it basically, with the amount of money you make throughout the year, your clothes might actually get pulled up out of the washer, and you might get to play for the rest of the year. And I've been through this before. 2016, I had conditional status, and I never even came close. Like 2 events, and one of them was a sponsor exemption, and then one of them was Monday the week after. But it was after all the reshuffles and everything. It made no difference. But yeah, for me, it was huge. I didn't have to do a single Monday qualifier all year long. I could play whatever event I wanted. I could play them all. I could play 10 of them. Obviously on the web tour, you got to play close to all of them. But to know that I could play whenever I wanted was huge. Yeah, that $64, there is no amount that I think you could get me to trade with what those guys have to deal with. So
awesome. So talk just a little bit about that experience so far, being on the web so far this year. Talk a little bit just about how that's been, and maybe how that's different from PGA Tour Latin America, whether that's just in, obviously the travel is a big part of it, but the venues or the players, whatever the big differences are between the 2 tours as well.
It would be hard for me to find a huge difference. I think the biggest difference is everybody on a hole I don't think everybody on a hole is better, but I think the field from 1 to 156 is better. Whereas in Latin America, there might be 30, 40, 50 guys that truly are better than the rest. And then some weeks, it doesn't come out. I finished 110th a couple times. Like some weeks you don't really have your best. But yeah, I mean, I thought I played pretty solid in 2 events and finished 17th in the Bahamas and 25th the last time we played in Florida. And thinking about it, I think that, in Florida, I think I shot 12 under and lost by 14. So that didn't happen in Latin America. Like 12 under. Now, granted, it wasn't the hardest golf course in the world, but I mean, there was some wind and you could get it in the wrong spots here and there. 12 under might have lost by like 5 or 6 in Latin America. I wouldn't have won, but the overall, the level of play, it's just deeper. I mean, there's just marginal golf, solid golf, where that might have been a 10th place finish or a 5th place finish in Latin America if some guys struggled. Solid golf, marginal, kind of, not doing anything great but not doing anything bad, is going to be about 25th on the web tour for sure.
Definitely. And we actually had Wade Benfield on the podcast, who played good down in the Bahamas in Abaco. Talk a little bit about your experience down there. I know the weather was pretty crazy, but just that event and kind of the way things panned out for you. What was your experience like down there?
Yeah, I mean, those first 2 events were cool because they're on TV, and they made a big stink about the international tour guys, the guys that won the Order of Merits in Canada and China. So I got to do some interviews, and they followed our group the first week, the first couple days. So, I mean, it was really cool, but that's totally new. Like I've never done TV. And I was fortunate. I actually played really well both the first 2 days down there. But did not feel like I handled anything well. Like the only time I felt like settled when I was truly over the golf ball ready to hit it. So that was good. That's probably why I played well. But Abaco was crazy. I mean, I was mic'd up on Friday, so that's a totally different experience. I mean, it's amazing how quiet everyone in your group is when you're mic'd up. But my brother was with me, and so we're just kind of BSing back and forth. But even us, like we didn't have me and my brother, our normal interactions because we were mic'd up. Like I wanted to be as close to myself as I could be, and I just kind of bailed. I bailed really hard on, I'm not that animated, but like we'll just kind of bicker back and forth. And I mean, obviously no cursing, and I won't scream it, but I'll say a curse word or 2 here and there to myself. But no, and then Abaco, the last day was basically the last 2 days. Yeah, the last 2 days, Saturday, Sunday, I think I started in 9th going into Saturday, and I shot 7 over the last 2 days combined and moved, like, I finished 17th, so moved down 8 spots. I mean, if you do that any other week, you would go from 9th to dead last. So that should tell anybody how windy it was. I mean, it was, thinking back on it, especially that Sunday, I mean, there were shots. 17 comes to mind. It was a par 3 downhill with, and the water's like out over the hole. So it's blowing hard everywhere. It's really humming here. Thinking back on, I tried to like hit a hold 5-iron in the air so you just can't go. It can go left. It can't really stay. I mean, because it's not really going to stay, but it can't go long. So like I would have just taken a 3-iron out and just chipped it and seen how much I could have ran it. Because it would have caught a little downslope. See how long I could get this ball to stay on the ground and how far it could go. I mean, and then at 18, you wind up and you turn and go the other way, and the wind's blowing at your back. And I remember taking it back and being blown straight forward and like throwing it out to the left. I hit a great drive, so it was awesome. But this golf that I will never probably play in winds like that again. And I mean, I grew up in Kansas City and down in Dallas now. I mean, I've played in wind. Like I love it. But I did not necessarily love that week. It was insane. It was crazy, man. Good on Wade. He had a great week that week. I don't know how you hold it together. I mean, I played with Scotty Scheffler the last day. I think he shot even or 1 over. And honestly, I wasn't keeping a score, so I didn't really know. But gosh, it felt like he was making a few birdies. It felt like he shot 66. But he did. He vaulted up the leaderboard. He had a top 10 that week, I think. But I mean, we signed for 72. I looked, I was like, there's no way. Dude, I thought you were at least 4 under. I said, no, you couldn't. I mean, there were a couple 15-footers, like you couldn't even get them close to the hole. The wind was blowing so hard. I mean, it was they needed to finish, but there was that borderline like we shouldn't have played. I mean, you could have played, but it was borderline. You didn't need to play.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's wild. I think those experiences are cool, and that's like you said, that's something you'll never forget. Whether you played good or bad, it's one of those weeks you're like, I was there, I experienced that.
Yeah, you just laugh at how just beat up everybody was.
Definitely. Talk about schedule moving forward over the next couple of weeks, kind of what you're looking forward to in your season and what's coming up, and then maybe just what some of your goals are for this season on the web. You've got full status, so what are you aiming for?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to recreate basically last year as best I can. I did finally a couple weeks into this year. I took down the sticky note and put up the new one. Yeah, I want to win the 2019 Web Tour points list now, not money list. But yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate to have a full schedule and be able to play whenever I want. So in that, you can't really shrug them off not so great weeks that much because it's a sprint. Like we're going to play, I think it's 24 regular season events and then the 3 playoff events. I mean, you got to go. If you're playing, you got to go. But yeah, I mean, I'm fortunate to make a full schedule and hopefully piece together enough high finishes to obviously get my PGA Tour card. But I'd like to prove to myself again that I'm the best at a certain level and do my best, as best I can throughout every shot I hit this year to kind of have that in the back of my mind. Let's make a score on this hole. Let's shoot a score in this round and let's shoot some scores in this tournament and let's see how they add up at the end. Schedule moving forward, I'm going to go Monday down to Alexandria, Louisiana and play the All Pro Tour event, which they play on the 2 courses that the Monday is for Lafayette. 5 weeks off for me going in without any sort of knowledge of what's going to go on, in tournament golf for me is no good. So I figured why not just go play. My brother who plays as well, he's going to go down there. So it'll be a fun week for the 2 of us. Obviously, I hope what I've worked on these last couple of weeks it comes into form, but the courses are not that difficult. I mean, there's so many good golfers all over the place. You're going to have to shoot really low to win. But I'm kind of using it at least as of right now, I'm saying that I'm using it as a tune-up. But yeah, when I get on that first tee, it's just be like, I want to beat people. I want to win this tournament. And then we've got 2 weeks or a week in Louisiana and then a week in Savannah, Georgia, and then a couple weeks off. And then it's 24 weeks in a row to end the year. So obviously I've scribbled out so many different schedules, which weeks to take off. I'd like to at least take 3, maybe 4 weeks off in that stretch. I haven't quite settled on which ones are which. And then again, like if you played well one week and the next week you were planning a week off, for me, I'd like to keep that going. I find that you get in a rhythm and you get kind of feel and everything when you're playing. So hopefully I don't wind up playing all 24. I don't think I physically could do it, but I have heard from everybody else as well that if you make a schedule, if you're gonna take weeks off, just take weeks off. Don't be the guy that's like, oh well, let's just keep doing it. I'll keep doing it. It'll be probably easier said than done this year because you're gonna fall on the money list or the points list if you don't play. And I don't like doing that. I like that, in my mind, every time I played, I just try to ascend, just try to pass a few more guys. But no, I'm looking forward to the year. I do feel that my game and kind of how I go about things definitely is good enough to compete at this level. Having proved it to myself last year, and then with some decent finishes, I was so sloppy these first 5 weeks but had a couple top 25s and get into the top 10, try to get a couple chances to win, see how my processes and what I think and how I do things, see how it holds up when I'm around the lead, and then hopefully clip a win or 2 or 3 and then get off this tour.
Awesome. Real quick, something I want to touch on, just being a college golf coach myself, I always like to check in with guys and their college experience. I know at SMU you guys had a pretty special team and had some pretty cool things going. So just talk a little bit about some of the guys that were on that team, how close you are to them now, and how many guys on that team are playing professional golf now, because I know there's quite a few that are out there.
So my last year, obviously Bryson, then Austin is on the web tour with me. Sam Fedone, who's basically wins every mini tour event of all time. And then he had a great year in Canada last year. He was on our teams. Andrew Buchanan has played a couple years up in Canada. My brother, who's playing now, Gray Townsend. I guess I missed Gray. He was not a freshman when I was a senior. But then my first year I played with Kelly Craft too. So yeah, we've kind of got a little like sneaky factory down there, guys, you know, getting in, and obviously with Bryson, we get a bit more pub. Hopefully Austin and I catch up. Kelly gets his first win. But that 2014 year, it was like you said, it was a special team. We were very fortunate to have two of the best coaches that you could have in Josh Gregory and Jason Enlow. And I mean, me to see where we went from my freshman year to my senior year and how much better we got over those, you know, and even with interchangeable parts, you know, if you guys will graduate and leave or, you know, freshmen, man, it was kind of the boring stuff. It was every day, let's just get better as individuals, let's get better at a few things. And then that makes obviously the team better. You know, individuals, if they play better, the team will be better. Yeah, gosh, that year we hadn't won since my freshman year until conference that year. And then we go play regionals and we were almost won it. And then we damn near gassed the whole thing and didn't finish in the top five. And then the same thing, we're like in third or fourth coming on the last day and we damn near gas it. And we barely get in to the final eight, but it was special. We definitely felt like we could have won the whole thing. I think it hit a few of us, some of the younger guys, it hit them later that we could have won. Hopefully, you know, had it hit them before that we could have actually beaten Alabama, we might have beaten them. But we gave them a great run, man. It was that team with Trey, Corey, and Bobby. I mean, that was pretty much. And then Tom Lovelady, Robbie Shelton too. Like, no discredit to those guys. All five of them are incredible players. I know Trey, Corey, and Bobby well, and I would love to have beaten them, but it was a lot of fun, man. It was cool finishing up in Hutchinson, Kansas at Prairie Dunes. Like, it was a couple hours, maybe 3 hours from where I grew up. But I mean, we played Kansas amateurs there and countless other things. It was kind of the perfect way to end. I really did think, and you know, would sit and, you know, watch TV or whatever, and my mind would drift. I really did think that like this was made for me. It was the first year it was on TV too. Like, it was made for me. Like, I was going to win at home in Kansas. Unfortunately didn't, but special team, we got better just at every tournament throughout the year, and we really kind of they implored us to stop worrying about the result. The wins will come, and we finally got one win, and then it really felt like kind of similar to how my golf career has gone. Like, okay, I'm good enough to do it now. Let's just keep doing it, you know. Unfortunately, we ran just a little short in match play, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun getting better with a group of guys too, and two great coaches and great support here at SMU, obviously, as well. And they had a couple of lean years. You know, Bryson left, and he's tough to replace. But they are really good now this year too. I think they might have fallen to 10th after a second place finish recently, which makes no sense to me, but whatever. They've got some really good young kids now, and I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing them finish off what we did a few years ago.
Good. That's awesome. We get to a part of the show now that we like to do for a little bit more fun, just to get the listener to get to know you a little bit better. We call it the Twilight Nine. So we compare it to playing 9 holes on a summer's evening trying to beat the sun.
Yep. I know that all too well. That's how we all grew up playing. Yeah.
Perfect. We're going to go 9 questions, rapid fire. Just whatever comes into your mind, just go ahead and spit it back at me. All right.
Yeah.
Go-to pre-round meal.
Well, it's usually breakfast, so it's just sausage and eggs.
Favorite on-course snack?
Lar bars. Lar bars or RX bars. So I'm trying to keep it a little healthy.
Nice. Favorite golf course you've ever played?
Spring Hill in just outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Nice. Best golf tournament to watch on TV?
That's the Masters, no doubt. Yeah.
Perfect. What's your golf brand of choice?
Say that again, sorry.
Golf brand
TaylorMade.
What's your current pump-up song?
Gosh. I don't even know the names of some of the songs I listen to. something with like a beat, not the crazy stuff, not the boom, 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 but something with like a little low key beat, you know, just kind of you vibe to, as the young kids say. I don't even know the names of these songs though.
Fair enough. What's the hardest exercise in the gym?
Oh, lunges. I've been trying for years to hinge at the hip. It gets better every day, but it's not great.
There you go. What's the best movie of all time?
My favorite of all time is Remember the Titans.
Nice. It's a great movie. It's a great movie. And then what's your favorite sports team?
The Philadelphia Eagles, without a doubt.
Nice.
Awesome. Least favorite is the Kansas Jayhawks, I have to say. I hate KU. So.
That's fair enough. That's our Twilight Nine, just something we like to do for a little bit of fun, get the listeners to know you a little bit better. Real quick, before we let you go, just want to kind of really make sure that our listeners get the most out of this. And so if you were sitting down talking to a player who was looking to pursue professional golf, what would your biggest piece of advice be to them?
Get maybe not a team, but get, a few individuals around that you trust their input, what the information is they get you, and then get as much of that information as you can, but don't be afraid to be an individual and decipher it as best fits you. It doesn't have to be this way. Find a way that this, becomes this because of your input as well. Don't be afraid to put your input into something, but certainly get as much information as you can from those you trust, and then just think you're 500 times better than you actually are.
Awesome. I love it. We talk about the team aspect on the podcast quite a bit, and so awesome to hear successful players talk about it as well.
Cool.
One last thing, just go ahead and finish this sentence for me. Professional golf is?
It's full of insane people because we are doing something that gives us so little control over the result, and we do it for a living.
Awesome. Perfect. I really appreciate you joining us today. It's awesome to have you on. Real quick, before we let you go, just let everybody know where they can follow along with you and your 2019 season moving forward. Yeah, it's I think Instagram. Yeah, Instagram and Twitter is Harry Higgs 1991, HARRYHIGGS. And then, I guess start me on the PGA Tour app, and hopefully the favorite doesn't matter. Hopefully I'm at the top of the leaderboard anyway. Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, man. Really awesome to have you on, and thanks for joining us today. Yeah, no worries. Thank you, and good luck to you and your guys. That wraps up this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really want to give you a huge shout out for listening. Also want to give a huge shout out to Harry Higgs for joining us today. Harry is somebody who was kind enough to respond to me on just kind of a random reach out. I think he provided a very good interview and a good episode for you guys today. He provided a lot of insight and some stuff that you guys can really learn from. Also, always cool to hear from somebody who winds up winning the Order of Merit on the tour that they play on for a whole year. No matter how you look at it, that's an awesome year of playing golf. Really excited to continue to be able to produce new episodes of the Making the Turn podcast, as well as some other videos for you here on YouTube. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. If you guys are liking the podcast episodes or you're liking some of the other videos, be sure to leave a comment on this video. Really want to be able to communicate with you guys and have some back and forth. Want to learn how I can help you guys when it comes to golf and golf performance. Once again, just want to thank you guys for being here. Want to give another thank you to Harry. Can't wait to be back next week for the next episode of Making the Turn. Thank you guys so much. This is Vince Drummond Golf, and I'm out of here.